So draft portion is complete. Players are sitting down to play. And first up in our feature table, we are going to follow Trevor from the draft portion we
our
saw.
main drafter. And he will be up against, we can see right now, Boris.
There's always one token like that they like
I'm going to go get our camera angle.
Sounds good.
Yeah. You hold it down for another second.
I can do it. I think the real question of this match is how hyper-aggressive is the Boros deck. Can it take advantage of Trevor potentially having slower draws? It feels like if the deck is more hyper-aggressive, that Trevor will definitely want to play the long game here. And the longer the games go, I think the higher that Trevor is expected to win. So we'll have our camera angle just fully adjusted here in a sec, and we'll be off to the races.
And we are set.
Cool. Let us begin.
Round 1, Game 1, Team Draft LA, LTR Season Finals. Multi-5 on the left, Trevor, versus Kiki-Jiki's Delivery Service on the right with Julius.
And again, with Team Draft, you need 5 match wins collectively as a team to win. Alright, so both players are going to start here.
Looks like Julius on the play, no 1-drops, no 2-drops.
No 2-drops. So, one thing I was saying before while you were adjusting the camera is it feels like the longer the games go.
Ooh, no mana dork from Trevor's side either.
No, not one of his triple path.
That is not ideal.
And nothing again from Julius' side. This does not seem like a hand that had a lot of action or was banking on drawing a third land. Trevor's going to be the first one to put some pressure on this board.
That's pretty huge in this matchup, I would say.
I agree. I think Julius hit his third land. I can't see.
Yes.
Yeah,
Errant Rider. Draw bottom.
Put a card on the bottom. I think he picked up Escape from Orthing. And see what he put on the bottom there. I think in this match, again, one thing I was saying is how hyper aggressive is the Boros deck, and that will definitely give Trevor an edge or not.
just maybe see where we're at with
See how
I think
aggressive.
the longer the games go with Trevor's deck, I think more likely is that he will win.
Yep.
Right. I mean, he'll start putting in bigger creatures. He'll start activating the most Pathfinders, either both, offensively or defensively.
I was about to say, I wonder if that means Trevor would rather just hold back and play defensively, but he wants to get in for 4 here.
I think getting in for 4 is fine here. I wonder if they're if he's conscious of any combat tricks that might have been passed around the table. I mean, we know for a fact that Julius has Escape from Orthink in his deck. So I think it's a fair deck. But definitely once, depending on how much pressure Julius puts on him, he might want to start holding back a bit.
Trevor takes 3 back, keeping the life totals close. A post-combat Spearmaster.
Interesting choice.
Definitely reeks of a trick of some kind.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think that play signals that he was a little scared of what Trevor could potentially have. But I think in that scenario, you should just jam the Spearmaster and try and get the extra point in. But also with the planes, you do represent Escape from Orthing too.
That means it's more likely he has something like Gimli's
Fury, right? I think, yeah. Or Rush the Room or something.
Oh yeah,
Here's
if
Rangers.
he just has Mountain, sure.
We're gonna attempt to steal this
Can we do?
Spearmaster, all right.
Yeah, I guess Escape from Orthanc would have prevented the steal.
Just might have been a miss there, I think. It's lesser power, right?
Lesser power, yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm saying, I think...
Oh, he might use it here.
Yeah.
Interesting play.
Julius falls to 12 and falls way behind on board as well.
I mean, yeah, as the Boros deck, when you're staring down your opponent, I mean, Trevor's just 2 mana sources away from just being able to activate Pathfinder, right?
Yeah.
Like and he's at 17 life. Like, this is falling away from Julius very, very fast. But again, I think this kind of goes back to Julius's keep, where he kept a hand on the play without a turn 1 or turn 2 play, and not a third land. So you're missing both an aggressive creatures and something to
and a curve
really
topper.
do.
Yeah.
I mean, you're on the play, I guess, and you're like hoping to draw a land maybe. But the problem is that Trevor was the first person to put pressure on the board in this game. He was on the draw, and he's a green deck. And he wasn't the Boros deck. So,
Reptune repeat, I believe Frodo is the only white splash in Trevor's deck, right? And he did choose to play... He has maybe Landreval as
Landreval
well?
too. I don't know if he's playing it, but he could be.
It's like Ranger's Firebrand is going to take out the
Guardian. And then Julius will get tempted by the ring. Trevor thinking about a response, so I think he has a Bilbo song.
Bombadil song, yeah.
Or Bombadil song, yeah. Yeah, I think we got a little too hasty there trying to pull out tokens and stuff. So the ring will not be tempting him now. So, but the ring will be tempting Trevor now. +1/+1 and hexproof. And
feels like the doors of this game are just being slammed shut here.
Correct. Yeah, I think the issue I'm seeing with Julius' deck, or at least his keep, is that it's a lot of reactive spells, but not enough pressure.
Yep.
And this, again, the power of Trevor's deck, where he can now start doing 2 things in one turn.
It's like Trevor's moving the ring.
Like, once we get, I think the issue is if you're an aggro deck and you're 2 reactive, and you're playing against a deck like Trevor's, like, he can just start doing, again, like 2 things in one turn, or holding up mana to pump, and he can do a lot. He can represent a lot more things and make a lot more actions than a Boros deck that's just playing some Moby creatures and some removal spells for some combat tricks. This is definitely the power of like green mid-range decks in Team Draft. I guess we're thinking on Julius' side what to do. Or no, I think Trevor's thinking about who will be the ring bearer from the Bombadil song.
Yeah, I definitely like putting the ring bearer on something with a ring tempt death trigger, right? Because you're always guaranteed.
Correct.
To have a ring bearer.
Now we're stinging this Pathfinder, which doesn't really accomplish much, I feel like.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a little bit desperate, right? Just
everything. I feel like this is a game that, unless Julius can really put a lot of pressure on, and Trevor draws a lot of lands, he is not winning. Step 1 would be to kill the Rangers and get your own Spearmaster back, right? Sure. That definitely feels like a step 1.
Yeah, would holding on to the removal spells to potentially deal with that.
The problem is
the Mirror-Made Guardian.
I mean, I guess he could have shocked and then Hobbit Sting, but
I'm not saying necessarily this turn, but
sure, yeah. Yeah, and then here's the issue. It's like, okay, I trade a spell for a 1/1, and now Trevor just plays another fatty, and now, as long as he has a ring bearer in play, he can just bin away any extra lands he does not need for the whole rest of the game.
Resolving a Spearmaster trigger here.
Mm-hmm.
This will be an attack for 10-ish. it looks like.
I think so. I don't know if you attack. You definitely don't attack with the Rangers to keep that Spearmaster.
Sure.
So, yeah. Attack for 7. Loot's going to happen because of the ring ability. And Trevor's actually only 1 ring tempt away from having a full ring tempt here. A full ring, I guess. I think any way you see it, this game is pretty much over.
Yep.
Another issue that's going to happen. Here's the other big thing. That Mirror Guardian, once it dies and it puts the ring on the Huorn, now you have a 4. You're at level 4 of the ring, and you have a ring bearer that's a trampler.
I mean, I think the play has to be block the mirror and escape from Orthanc here, right?
I think he has that, right? That's what I'm.
He's letting the trade go through.
Unless I misread the card. Yeah, that's what it looked like to me.
I believe he took 2 down to 10 there.
Yes.
He has himself.
Because the Spearmaster always has to pump something else. All right. Yeah, exactly. Guardian dies. He puts the ring on the trampler.
That's a level 4 ring-bearing trampler.
And you can make it a 5 power with the Spearmaster.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything he can put into play that has 5 toughness right now.
Pretty much just a matter of time here. I think Battle of the Bywaters sort of the only
the game is over
out here. And even then, Trevor's deck is just full.
Even then, it would lead around. I guess it wouldn't get his Spearmaster back, right? But yeah, like you said, then Trevor would have to draw very dead to not get out of that situation, right? So,
This is a lethal attack here, even without the Rangers.
Correct. It's 2 from the Spearmaster, 5 from the end, and then 3 extra from the ring.
I think I would probably go ahead and get in with the Rangers as well at this point.
Yeah, because the thing is, even if the Rangers died right now, and the Spearmaster went back, if it was killed before combat, you're still going to attack with the Huorn, right?
And in Boros, the only way that happens, pretty much the only way that happens is Smite the Deathless.
Correct, Smite the Deathless.
Which I feel like he might have shot off before now.
Right. We don't have any we have nothing to sack to an Improvised Club.
You would probably want to do it before combat anyway, right? To prevent a...
Yeah, it just, I mean, Trevor just discarded a Generous into a loot. That's not how that works.
Creature you control, I believe.
Wait.
Can we get a ruling on that? Yeah.
Wait, Trevor, can slip on the ring target
creatures you control?
Target any creature, only you control.
You own, really?
But you're not the owner, right?
He is the owner, yeah. That sounds right to me, yeah. Wow, what a... That's very oddly specific. I think that sounds right to me, yeah.
I'll look up the ruling just to be safe, but we'll see what happens in this game if it matters.
He definitely owns it. Because it's like, if you were to return it to its owner's hands,
correct,
it would be him. So, I'm sure it's the same. And it looks like Julius is just going to be taking 8 here and eating the Rangers.
We stand corrected. You can target a creature you own but do not control.
Yeah.
Let's slip on the ring. I did not know that.
Nice job to Julius. Some heads up.
Yep. Heads up play there. Yeah. I could have. I don't know. There's not a ton of. I feel like I haven't read out a lot of cards recently that say creature you own.
Yeah, that felt weird to me.
Yeah,
usually
for sure.
usually the blink effects like that are creatures you control.
Right. I mean, I see what he wanted to do. It makes sense. And now,
thank you, Reptune Repeat. For
I missed
with
how. Sorry, we were talking about that. I missed how he got a ring tempt on his.
Slip present.
Oh, because the ring tempts you after the spell resolves, right? Yeah. Okay. Again, like,
not going to matter too
I mean,
much.
going back to the game, like, everything that Trevor does is just so impactful compared to what
It's like
Julius is.
We keep the stew on top and bottom Harwin, I'm sure.
The thing is that, like, again, I feel like I haven't. Julius' deck does not seem like it's putting enough pressure on fast enough to where, like.
Too tough. Okay.
Yeah. I think the scry was. I mean, there's no spell that gets you out of it either way.
So a crazy turn there ends up not mattering too much.
Yeah.
And
Again,
Trevor takes a pretty easy game one.
I think that, like, even we talked about this, like, no matter how Trevor builds his deck, I think what's great about his pool is because he has so many mana dorks, he can't really lose to Flood all that much. Unless he draws, like, 5 lands in a row or something, but I think, like, 15 or, he's definitely not playing, I don't think he's playing 17 lands. What's cool about this format is that you can definitely mitigate Flood due to having ring tempts and these mana cyclers, so you can lower your land count. Mm-hmm. So, and Trevor's definitely in the deck where he has enough freedom to, like, basically the world's his oyster, whatever he wants to really play. The games where I feel like he's going to lose, though, are the ones where he's not doing anything really. That game, for example, I think could have been a lot different if Julius had a 1 and 2 drop, right? Because he that whole game he had a Hobbit Sting, he showed Combat Trick, he'd, like, step on the ring and escape from Orthink, but because he had not enough agency, it didn't end up mattering. We just saw there he had the Balrog in his sideboard. That's a card I feel like you should be.
Really?
Main deck, yeah.
Interesting.
So he's just like, and here's what's surprising to me about that is that in Team Draft, if I haven't seen enough of his deck to know this, but if he's not putting enough pressure on fast enough, he can't beat down Trevor fast enough to win, and the longer the game goes, Trevor will have an advantage.
I would guess that the deck is looking to be down a little faster than that.
Correct. Like, if you're a Boros deck, your role usually is to just be the beatdown player, right?
I'm guessing it was just, kind of a bad draw with no 2 drops, but not a mulligan either,
I mean, if you're not playing any creatures on turns 1 and 2 as the Aggro deck on the play, but you don't have a 3rd land for your 3-drop, I think it's a very risky hand.
Oh, was he missing land as well?
He did miss a land drop in the game.
Yeah.
I think that hand was deadly.
That's a tougher.
And it shows because, again, like I said, I think the game would have been a lot different if he has those combat tricks and removal spells, but has a 1 and 2 draw to start the pressure, right? Yeah. Like a Rohirrim Lancer, the 1/1 with Menace, into like a Took Reaper, any sort of 2-drop. Eastmark Cavalier, Westfold Rider. All right, so players are going to shuffle up here and get their hands going for game number 2. And Julius with the mulligan. Another thing, too, about Julius' deck is that he at least has 1 Hobbit Sting, a Slip on the Ring, and Escape from Orthink. So he really needs, like, creatures in play, and hopefully in multiple copies to start to have targets even for those cards. I don't know if that was a keep from Trevor, but he's currently answering a question for his teammate, so we'll get back to him in a sec. Team Draft. Well, it looks like it was a keep then. Team Draft, definitely a format where you have the advantage of helping out your teammates, and if you have good mojo with them, you can answer some tough questions and help them solve some mulligan decisions that they might have had some issues solving. All right. Julius is going to keep his 6 And they'll start us off. Again, not a 1 or a 2 drop from Julius' side, but Trevor, again, will be the first person to put something on board here with a Woes Pathfinder, one of his 3 copies. All right. Errant Rider from Julius is going to draw a card and then put a card on the bottom. We did see that in his hand. He does have a Shadowfax.
Sorry, just getting team names in there.
So currently in Julius' hand, he has a Shadowfax that I saw. We're going to ship something to the bottom here. Go back Trevor's way. Is that the Gale in his hand? I can't tell. We do have land number 3 though.
The Miser's Plains, we assume.
So I know in hand he has two lands and a 3/4 scry 2 for 5, like in the name.
So that'll certainly be coming down next turn.
Ooh.
Here's
And we're gonna have this is definitely closer in line where you want to be from Julius' side.
Eomer? Is that the name?
It's Eomer, but also in his hand he has a Shadowfax. And before combat here, we're going to not the Eomer. Okay. The Scry 1 and draw a card also. So Trevor is now, this is totally opposite of game 1, where now, even though Trevor was the first one to put something on board here, Julius has like some pretty powerful haste creatures coming his way.
Yeah.
And Trevor needs to find some blockers fast.
Lots of good hasty creatures in the Boros deck. Eomer of the Riddermark, Shadowfax.
Yep. So Trevor takes 3 there down to
Rally
17. I think he might have done the light pose opposite there. No, you're good. But Trevor's facing down an Eomer and a 3/2, and what he doesn't know is that Julius has a Shadowfax. Yeah.
Okay.
I think this just might be too slow, but even though he had a Mandork, this is definitely the hand that Julius wants to see is 4/4 haste into 4/4 haste, right?
Oh, is Eomer a 4/4 as well? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
4/4 haste.
4 mana 4/4 haste. Pretty good. With upside as well.
Another attacking legendary creature you control dies. You untap all your creatures and get an extra combat step.
Pretty much guaranteed to be taking 8 next turn and getting into the
as long
danger
as
zone.
I don't know if I saw if Julius has a 5th land or not, but I know he has a Shadowfax.
Judge has been called. Trevor's still working on a Scry 2 here. Comparing to his hand. Looks like we're going 2 top. Say go. And Julius did find land number 5 for Shadowfax here. Does he have the complete nuts with a creature to put into play?
Just a clarification on how King of the Oathbreakers works. If it's targeted by a creature's ability, does it phase out? The answer is no, because it has to get targeted by a spell.
Correct.
Yep. And right, 5th land in Shadowfax. And
didn't quite have the nuts. No 3-power creature to put into play. But
3 or less.
Yeah.
But
Trevor will still be
like Julius, I'm not seeing what he has in his hand. Wait, what? He has a Speedmaster in his hand. Why is he not putting it into play? Oh, he doesn't want to get. He doesn't want
it would have been eaten by the
3/4.
The Willow Wind.
Yeah. Yeah, and you probably just want to keep that for next turn. You can just make one of your 4/4s a 5 power. Probably the Shadowfax, I'm guessing, next turn.
So Trevor is actually contemplating a chump block here?
The problem with a chump block is that your next turn has to be really good. Like if you're gonna chump this turn, you have to be playing like a generous end next turn.
Okay, yeah.
Just takes it. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah, can't take too many more of those, though.
Yeah,
Definitely gonna have to...
because next turn, hoping that Julius doesn't have anything too crazy. You're probably putting a creature in play this turn, and then doing some sort of double. You're hoping to do some sort of double block.
I think land generous ent might just do it here, though. If that were to be the play,
Be nice. I mean, I'm wondering if last turn, if Julius did put in the Spearmaster, but attacked with the 3/2, Trevor would be at 6 this turn. Nah, that's not worth it. I'm trying to think if there was a line to potentially put in something else this turn.
okay, no land number
Quick beam,
5.
okay. Just gonna put a big 5/6 into play here.
Awfully tempting to attack for 5 here, but we probably need to hold back.
You don't, just because of anything smaller that could get put into play from Shadow Effects and the Aaron Rider Condor.
Yeah, we already have a good block on there.
Correct.
So.
Yeah, I think his goal is to block the AMR with the Quick Beam and the Willow Wind on the Rider Gondor. Oof.
He does have the classic aggressive run out here.
Yeah, now this game I think is pretty much over.
So this is now a lethal swing here.
Now, they didn't see what the Spearmaster was targeting, but I would assume it's...
The Errand Rider, yeah.
That makes sense.
To give it a
Because now
trade
you have
on the
3/4/4, you have 3/4 power things attacking.
yeah.
Yeah. And then Trevor just has to
Trade with the Errand Rider.
trade with the Aaron Rider and go to 1. And now he has to find 2 more blockers and hope that Julius has exactly nothing to even survive this game. Looking pretty grim.
I imagine we're just going to see Trevor scoop him up here.
I would think so. I mean, the problem is even if he puts 2 creatures in play this turn, they're probably not. Yeah, they're nothing. There's nothing he can do to really get out of that situation, I feel like. Oh, you got to put the Aaron Rider in the graveyard.
All right. Going to game 3 in round 1 of our team draft finals here. Looks like Trevor is making some sideboard decisions. Which of these decks is the one that has the horn in it, by the way?
The other yeah. This is Julius has the Balrog.
Yeah, he's punching Balrog.
Cool. I guess he decided against it.
Or just didn't drop the ball. It was there the whole time.
It was on the board when he was looking to it.
Looks like Julius is considering removing a Hobbit Sting here on the draw.
Yeah, I guess like.
I think shooting...
See, he's boarding in one or boarding out one?
He was thinking about boarding it out. I think he kept it in.
I think the problem with Sting is that it's not going to... In the early game, early to mid-game, it's only really going to kill
Pathfinders.
Yeah. But the problem is, by the time you put a creature into play and have a Sting, Pathfinder's probably already done enough work. Like we saw in game 1, where that's probably not going to end up mattering.
Yep.
I would definitely be on board of let's slam a Balrog in there.
We have not seen Julius's deck producing a lot of token creatures or food to power up.
No, to power up cards like Sting. I think the reason why I would also play the Balrog in game 3 is that with Julius on the draw, he's not going to have as much agency as being on the play, obviously. Mm-hmm. So, the question then becomes: does he think he can really out aggro Trevor? And let's see, we're gonna cut an isolation what we think for her. You cannot pass.
Interesting.
Did we even see a lot of legendaries from Trevor's side? I mean, something like
Simmering Tempt.
Simmering Tempt, yes. A Quick Beam.
I guess it's like, a 1 mana way to deal with Quick Beam.
I guess the problem with the you cannot pass is like, I feel like it's one of those cards that's kind of awkward where it has to be timed correctly and like nothing can go wrong. I feel like the problem is like cards. The reason why the card I don't think is very powerful. It's better on the draw. I feel like than the play. It's cards. Basically, it's just cards where like you need to have the right thing happen for them to be useful. Where they're not just terminates always.
The fact that it costs 1 mana can be irrelevant in a lot of cases because it will often be the last card in your hand, and so you'll effectively spend 5 mana on it sometimes,
Sure. I'm going to go actually check what our match updates are over here.
You got it.
Yeah, I'm going to check.
It's like we were shuffled up.
All right. So quick update from our matches. So Moldify was actually up 1. Mira won his match 2-0. And then Eric's match on their side, they're going to game 3.
Okay. 2 game 3 matches.
Some
round 1.
Some Mardu on Mardu action over there. And then so it'll be a tight round. We'll see what happens. Trevor and Miro. Well, in there.
Looks like Trevor is sending hand 1 away, which has to feel pretty bad when you're running as many mana dorks and fixers as he is.
I'm curious if the hand was mana light or way too mana heavy.
Yeah, it's almost more likely to be the latter in his deck, right?
Yeah.
If you have like 3 lands of Pathfinder and a land cycler or something, I don't know, that's probably still a keep.
Yeah, I think so too. All right.
Try again.
Again, I think it'll be. This is the interesting thing about this matchup will be, can Trevor power out his fatties before Julius can take advantage of the board, right? Because both those games, Julius didn't play anything in the play until turn 3, or until he had 3 lands, I should say. Mulligan to a true Mull the 5 from team Mull the 5.
Which, again, Trevor's deck needs lots of lands / mana dorks in play.
I do think that
it has very little card draw.
One weakness from this deck is when you have to mulligan, like you're a little, because you have so much mana in your deck, because he's playing 3 Pathfinders and Glide Halfling. Even if you're playing 15 lands, and he's an envelope, right? Mm-hmm. Even if you're playing 15 lands, half of your deck is mana, right?
Yeah.
So when you're down cards and resources, it can be, definitely tricky. Even if your opponent has a Sailor Aggro deck in this case, you could still be at a pretty bad disadvantage there.
Yeah, and I think he might have like an Arwen's Gift or something in his deck as like the only source of real card draw.
Right.
So I think the best case scenario when you're mulling to 5 is going to be you play a turn 3 Bag End Porter or something.
Well, the best draw he could have is Cycler, Land, Pathfinder, Rise.
Rise, I guess.
Sure. Although I don't know if you can even put that card in his deck. But again, the best thing he could do is
no Rise. Okay.
All right, so that could have been the best 5 he could have, I guess.
Yeah.
But that might end up buying him.
But what we saw in the last game is he, even on a 7-card hand, he got to play the game he wanted to, but then it was a simple Fog of Barrow Downs, just
Exactly, and that's one of the weaknesses of
Just
his deck,
blew it all
right?
up. Yeah.
I mean, granted, his opponent did play like, he did the sequence of play 2 4/4s with haste, which is, doesn't happen too often in this format, but definitely Shadowbacks can get you. All right, so we have a delayed halfling.
Hand. Yeah. That's a start.
I definitely think that his deck is a little weaker if he's not playing the black cards. I think I would much rather have the black cards because Julius,
Then
at least for game 3, because Julius has shown him. Julius has shown 2 games where he hasn't played like a good 1 or 2 drop. So cards like Voracious Fellbeast and Rise of the Witch King, at least from what Trevor has seen so far, are eating a creature as opposed to a token every time.
this is a very powerful start for Trevor.
We didn't even need the planes.
But we got it.
We had anyway. We get to get in for 1 here with halfling. So turn 2 from Julius.
He does have the you cannot pass.
It's true. But again,
Ooh, and a missed land drop, I think.
I don't know, because Trevor was on the play.
No, you're right.
But this is the 3rd game where Julius hasn't been played on turn 4 too. Oh,
There it is. Oh.
oops.
Okay. Revealed information.
Again, I mean, Trevor also just has one of his like last 2 cards as a land. So Julius could just put like an Errant Rider into play and then currently stop whatever Trevor has on board. So
I think getting a second ring tempt on Trevor here would be pretty huge, though.
definitely, that's what I mean.
Well, then you would
second
need
and third. Third is where you really want to get that card.
Well, I just mean after a Mull to 5, like getting some card selection would be
Right.
ideal. And he doesn't fire off the you cannot pass here. Interesting.
It has to block or be blocked.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, like I said exactly. The problem is now that even though Julius did not play on turns 1 or 2, him being on the draw this game is really huge. I mean, Trevor mulling to 5 on the play is very huge for Julius, where he just plays a 3/2 on turn 3. He was under no pressure the first couple turns of the game, and now, Trevor. I think Trevor's back is up against the wall now. Trevor really has to start putting some big things into play to start going sideways, because Julius is up, because we know that Trevor has a land in his hand. Julius is up potentially 3 to 4 spells on him.
Mm-hmm.
That's very significant. I think one thing that I maybe gave too much credit to Trevor's deck was I think he really wanted to have the black cards in this deck. Again, for cases like this. Oh, well, okay.
This is looking like a pretty good 5 here.
This is a very nice follow up. When this is the ceiling that Trevor decks has. Yep.
2 judge calls in 1 match. Great. It's like Trevor. I went ahead and hit Julius for 1 here. Yeah. Discarding a Yorith off of the ring tempt. And yeah, Trevor has made it happen here off this Mull to 5. Pretty ideal run out, and Julius has once again not been able to apply the kind of pressure that we would sort of expect from Boros in this format. No 2-drop once again.
It doesn't work the way you expect.
Yeah. Okay.
What was the question there?
The question was, so he gave a Spearmaster indestructible with Orcish Medicine, and then it was dealt 3 damage in combat, and then post-combat, opponent casts the Black Breath. The question was, it was dealt 3 damage, does it die?
It does not die. Yeah. Correct.
So, I mean, even though Trevor had a Mull to 5, it looks like he's kind of back in action here with his 4/5.
Absolutely, yeah.
You see a Hobbit Sting from Julius's side. It's gonna take out.
Just fire out the.
We're firing off. Sorry, this is on his main phase.
Yeah.
He played a Took Reaper and killed the halfling.
Interesting.
I don't love that play, mostly because like the halfling's kind of like
it's not really doing anything.
We talked about this with Lowe's Pathfinder, but like now we're at like there's a 4 or 5 in play. It's the Mandork has done its job.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no like extra ability taped onto that halfling that really matters.
Yeah,
right?
it's even worse than killing a Pathfinder.
Exactly.
In that way.
And I mean, Trevor has 3 colors of mana in play. He has Bant, which is in his deck is only he doesn't have the black cards. It's only Bant. So I think that play is just. I think why I also dislike that play is because now Trevor is working with perfect information. Right, he doesn't have to worry about any tricks right now.
Yep.
2 mana. Bewitching Leechcraft on this. On the.
I guess that's just to prevent a double block and trade on the horn, right?
Correct. I think Trevor just wants to start getting the pressure going here, and he wants to remove the biggest creature on the battlefield. Also, if the Took Reaper blocks currently, and he makes the Gondor, the Rider, the Ring Bearer, it doesn't matter because it's tapped down by the Leechcraft.
Got a ring loot.
Ooh, discarded an Arwen to the ring loot.
Pretty much just a bear with an otherwise empty hand, right? So
I mean, yeah, he's still kind of far off of playing 6, and he kept Pathfinder, I guess, here too.
I think I like that. Yeah,
I think so too.
Because you do have 6 drops that you want to cast.
Also, like, if say for example, Trevor's next couple of draws are lands, and like, here's a banished Federus to take out the horn. Yeah. Mull of 5 is currently up 1 with Miro's win, and the other 2 matches are in game 3s.
In for 2.
In for 2. I might be tempted here to honestly block with the World Pathfinder,
but you do have 6 drops you want to cast.
Exactly. So like I think because Frodo's at level 2 of Ringtem, like you can just start you can start like pitching away your lands for bigger things that you can start casting either this turn or next turn, right?
Yeah, and this Frodo has done a lot of work to smooth out Trevor's draws here. And keep the pressure going.
So Julius falls to 11 here after that 1 from the Frodo.
Yeah, I was about to say, if he has a land, I would imagine you just play it here for sure.
I think so, because you have multiple 6 drops in your deck, right?
Which one's that?
Oh, it's the Mary. I've only seen this card in paper at least, like I think one time from so many drafts in this format. It's a 2/2 with haste that has another ability on it. I don't know what the other ability is.
If you attack with 2 or more legendary creatures, you draw a card. Okay. And as long as it's equipped, it has first strike.
Gotcha. Okay. So 2/2 haste, and potentially can draw some cards.
Very powerful card. Does not get to draw this time.
Yeah.
Trevor takes 4. Goes to 14.
I wonder if we're getting to a point. Well, I guess he wants to keep just finding some action here. I think we might get to a point where that Frodo's on potentially blocking duty. But for the interim, I think you have a couple turns to loot away and try and find some better action. And here's another Pathfinder.
We're really just on the hunt for a 6-drop here.
Here's an attack. I mean, do you like blocking one of these creatures?
Yeah, I think so. Now that you have the redundant
2, 3, 4, 5.
Pathfinder. Yeah.
I mean, but if you hit a land off the top, now you can you start threatening Pathfinder activations on up to 3 creatures.
Sure.
Any of your 3 creatures. I think you can actually just take the damage here. Although I do think it's tempting to block the Took Reaper, and then now your opponent only has, opponent already has a legendary creature in play, so they still just have one, I guess. Or I guess they could, yeah. I feel like you could put the Ring Bearer on the Mary. I think you just take the damage here, go to 10, and then you start threatening activations. Now you can threaten to just hang out. Like, what's cool is that Frodo can block any Ring Bearer, and with Frodo being able to block any Ring Bearer, you can just pump it after blocks.
Mm-hmm. Trevor's
yeah,
listing Miro for some advice here.
Yeah.
Talking about the same thing we are, I'm sure.
Best case scenario, I mean, the problem is, here's why I don't like blocking, is because if you draw a land, now you can throw in activations, and you just hang back. If you draw a spell, you cast a spell. So I think you can afford to not block here for at least one more turn. Yeah, and that's exactly what he did. Goes to 10 here. And now the question is, if you draw a land, do you attack, try and find better action? Or do you just, if it's a land, play it, hang back? Ooh. So attacking with the Pathfinder makes me think that he drew either a 5 or a 6 drop he wants to play me.
Sure.
Oh.
Does that untap?
It untaps it just this turn. It will tap again on his turn. Right? It's a being of...
No, I don't think...
Or
I don't
there's
think
a valve,
so.
no taps?
Yeah, I believe so.
Or if it would tap again, it wouldn't untap.
Yeah, correct. Not a 6 drop, just a 3 drop.
Right. If it would untap, it just stays tapped. So now it can just chill there.
So it's a defender, basically.
Unless you want to... Ooh, there's a Fog Barons and... We're getting in with... Is this the turn to attack with the Aaron Rider? I guess so.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm sure it's time to trade off here.
I agree.
Take 5.
But now this board is actually like pretty stable, I feel like. Because Trevor's going to untap with Frodo, which will block the Mary. And the Errant Rider will now non-tap. So it's actually not that bad for Trevor.
No.
Right.
Definitely.
And Julius has 2 lands in his hand. Definitely a little flooded here. But
he's going to be itching for ring temp number 2 there for sure.
Correct. So, I mean, Trevor can just kind of hang back here.
I wonder if there was a line where you don't attack with the Aaron Rider this turn, then you can make it your ring bearer. You attack with it and Mary next turn, and you get to draw a card, an extra card off of Mary.
Because it says it counts 2.
If you attack with 2 legendary creatures. Yeah.
That's what that Mary's called.
Esquire of Rat.
Yeah.
So he could have saved that Aaron Rider attack to potentially draw an extra card.
I think that could have been a better play. Unless you have a defender hanging around, potentially.
Yep. Ooh, okay, we find the Trevor's 1 card draw spell. He's got to pay 4 for it.
Yeah, because the Guardian is not a legendary creature. Looks like
we know he's
Stew the Connings in the land?
We know he's pretty unlikely to die next turn, but he doesn't necessarily know that.
Right.
I think Frodo might be on blocking duty now.
Definitely, yeah. I think Frodo's on blocking duty now. I mean, he knows that his deck has 4/4s with haste, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, he's going to keep the Stew of the Colonies because with the Mirror Guardian in play, it can still punch any of Julius' creatures. Right?
X4 or whatever.
Yeah. He's going to play a land, but I guess maybe he's thinking he's not going to attack anytime soon with that Frodo. And just another land.
Another land for Julius.
Yeah, now I'm wondering more of like, should he have made that Errant Rider, the Ring Bearer, and saved it for a turn where he gets in and gets to draw, get a card deeper.
I understand the thought, though, that we're just bluffing an attack here, but I'm sure that Trevor's just going to block. That's the reason he held Frodo back, right?
Correct, right? Like, if he didn't attack with it, he definitely has to block with it. Like, if you didn't want to get a loot, like, if you gave him a whole loot, yeah, you have to block. You have to block.
Bounce.
All right.
Okay. Trevor is very close to just fully taking over now.
It's going to be very tight, right? Julius has a ton of top decks. Trevor also has a ton of top decks. It can go either way.
And I believe Eric won his match as well, so this could lead to
be a potential sweep.
To
Here's 5
going up 3-0, and that's a big.
That's a very big.
That's a big boy.
Because now we're going to see 2 lands that are going to go to the bottom.
See ya.
Now the question is, if that last card is a land, do you want to just attack with Frodo or be a little more cautious?
So the Whirlwind cannot block Mary, so that's another
correct.
Reason
And also, if Julius top decks any of his 4/4s with haste, you want to be able to double block.
That's actually not a terrible draw. That is going to trade for something. Well, it could free mana.
It could trade with both creatures, right?
Depending on how Trevor blocks. Yeah.
He's going to have to, right? Because he can pump it up. Well, I guess he can only pump it 3 times currently. Yeah, they're pointing out that if Trevor attacks, if Trevor attacks with Frodo, the Goblin could block it and then pump it for 4 damage. Trade with,
but it couldn't.
It couldn't kill the Whirlwind. Correct. But
they could kill Frodo.
There's definitely pressure on both sides here, right? I mean, Trevor's at a low life total. Julius wants to keep it that way. I mean,
I think at this point in the game, Frodo has done enough work that I would be okay with trading it off.
But we know that Trevor has the Stew the Coins from the Scry.
That's right.
Okay. So he has...
So he could do it in response to a second pump or something as well?
Correct. Yeah, I think... Well, the thing is, I don't think you attack with the Frodo then. I think you actually can attack here with the Whirlwind. So let's think of the worst case scenario here. I think attacking with the Whirlwind is like the thing you want to be doing here. Based on the information they have, like you have a 3-turn clock with the Whirlwind. The Frodo can block either of these creatures, probably block the Goblin. And then, I don't like this attack. Because you want to keep the Stew the Connies, right? Like the problem is what happens if he draws into a spell he wants to keep.
That looks like a Bombadil song.
Yeah, yes. Or I guess a Pathfinder.
Oh, Pathfinder. Okay.
But the problem is, like, Julius just takes 1 here, right? I don't know. I think instead, I think the play that I like more is actually you attack with the Whirlwind, you present it in a 3-turn clock, and then if Julius plays a 4-power haster, you can mirror your Guardian fight with the Stew and kill it. If he goes in to pump the Goblin before the 3rd pump, you kill it.
Okay.
Right?
Looks like he's just pumping once, just to trade off with Frodo, I guess.
I guess so.
Oh, he's asking his teammate that question.
I mean, here's the awkward thing: is like because here's another awkward thing because Trevor is attacking with the Frodo, or he's attacking with the Frodo this turn. He can't block the Mary anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the play that I think is correct here is you just attack with Whirlwind. If you attack at all, you attack just with Whirlwind. Okay, so it looks like a block happened and a pump happened with the Fire Leaper. Or, I guess not.
I guess pumped but didn't block.
I think so. Maybe they just messed it up. Or maybe he was like thinking about pumping, tap the lands, and just didn't untap them. I'm a little confused what's going on here. But it sounded like there was no block.
I don't think there's any reason to.
The goblin is not going to face. It can only
4 damage.
What is
interesting?
What?
Thank you, Reptune Repeat.
It's a force block. If he
Frodo would have forced the goblin to block. If it had been at 1 power, then the goblin would have had to block.
Oh,
so he pumped it out of range.
So he was. They were. I see. Good eye.
Good eye.
I see. They were contemplating about blocking it, and they pumped it to not block. I see.
Correct.
So sorry. He targeted Stu.
And he did pump it up to 3, so it looks like Frodo is going to die here before damage. Which I'm
happening
not sure.
before damage. I didn't hear this happening before damage.
Trevor said before damage.
Correct. Yeah, I think one thing that I was.
Oh, and he does have the Bombadil song though. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, one thing that I was saying was, I think you might want to hold on to the Stew for the next turn in case he top decks a 4/4 with haste, which he has. Julius we know has 2 of. Because we could use the Guardian that's enchanted by Fog to kill. Right. I think if anything, the attack there should have been with I agree. I think the attack that if there was an attack that would happen that last turn, it was with Whirlwind, because the Frodo is the one that's actually holding off the Merry, right? Mm-hmm. And now like this Merry, if this Frodo's dying, or thinking about the song is targeting Frodo, but we're figuring out who will become the new ring bearer.
Sounds like Trevor wasn't considering that Whirlwind couldn't block Merry.
Yeah. And that's one reason why you also hold back the Frodo that turn. I think it was kind of awkward because like Trevor's hand then was Stew and Song. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think you need to loot away any of those.
Yeah.
Right? I think Trevor is definitely giving a window to Julius here to steal this gun.
He will be untapping with 3 more life here though.
Right. So he's gonna go to 3. It's gonna be close.
I think another ring tempt would be lethal here for Trevor as well.
Is he on 3 or 4?
He's on 3, right? Because
Frodo
was on 2.
Song. Right, correct.
Frodo was already looting, so this Whirlwind is on 3 now.
Right there. Yeah, he has a food token. And this is a Knots that's going to get discarded. So Trevor's at an essential.
Knots actually seems pretty okay here.
He also has here's another decision.
Whoa.
Yeah, because he wants to hold up Knots and have food. Yeah, because now he's at 4, and now that the Willow Wind and the Frodo is threatening lethal next turn.
Wow, alarm bells have to be going off for Julius. You see an enraged horn.
Discarded. Alright, we're going to cast a Spearmaster here, play a land, pump this Merry here. But we're going to know what's happening here. We're going to tap down this Merry. Yeah, he can let this trigger happen before attacks.
That's the only target for it, yeah.
Right. Definitely bottom of the island. Try another island.
Very mana-heavy deck, like you were saying.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious how many lands he's actually playing in his deck. If it's like if it's less than 17, and if it is, how many lands are we playing? Just to pass the turn. But
Was that a Dreadful as a Storm? I think that should be.
I think so.
That should just do it, right?
Unless they're playing around.
What are you playing around? Like Smite or something? Spearmaster does have reach, notably, so it can.
That's right.
It can jump the
That
will.
card does have reach, so it can block. The question is, do you type both things, both creatures, and then do you put it on the one that's not being blocked?
This also puts ring level 4
That's true too.
into play.
Target the Frodo.
He also didn't eat the food last turn. That's kind of
Yeah, definitely not mana efficient. Yeah, definitely a couple of small punts, I think, from Trevor's side here. No. Wow, the thing is,
It's a 5/5,
oh, he's
and
gonna,
then Frodo becomes the ring bearer.
I see. You know,
Makes
he can't
sense.
block the Frodo, and he's going to take 4 regardless. He can block the Will-O-Wisp. If he has nothing,
It'll do it.
yeah.
Multi-5 takes it on a multi-5.
Well, yeah, well, the 5 wins and a Will-O-Wisp, and they sweep the first round. They just need 2 more wins, and that's the final.
That's the final, yeah.
Yeah.